Hey Canucks fans, let's take a look at what the right side of the defense may look like next season. I'm Clay Emo, I'm at Canuck Clay on Twitter, I'm at Clay Emo on Instagram, I'm the founder of the GLCPC, the Good Looking Canucks Positivity Club, and this is my Canucks take, all in one take. I'm here to provide Canucks insight that's both positive and timely. It's Clay's Canucks commentary for Monday, April the 27th. Thanks to everyone who joined me for my live stream last night. We had a lot of fun. Both Sean and Jacob came down for the first 20 minutes, and then it went rolling from there. So thanks again. I did announce who my next two guests are. I'm very excited about those two guys. Look for the first one, James Duthie from TSN, on Wednesday morning. For today, let's talk about the Canucks defensive group, and let's talk about what it might look like next year. Now, I know we still hold out hope that the Canucks and the NHL will come back and resume play this season, but in particular, I'm looking at next season because we have to plan for that as well, regardless of whether or not this season continues. So we know that there's a lot of flux on the right side. The only mainstay, the only guy that's going to be here for sure is Tyler Myers, because he's only 1 year down on a multi-year contract. So Tyler Myers is a lock, whether you consider him a first line guy or a first pairing guy or a second pairing guy. Then right after that, it starts to get a little bit muddled because Chris Tanev is a UFA. Troy Stecher is an RFA. And then there's a bunch of guys that maybe are knocking on the door, might come back, and I'll get to all those in a second. So let's talk about Chris Tanev first. Played every single game this season before ironically getting hurt in the last game of the season. The first time he's played all the games of a year. It was 69 games this season. And he's a warrior. We know that he's a great leader, great teammate, but he is breaking down despite that the fact that he played all the games this season. And he's going to command a lot of money on the UFA market. And potentially, he's going to price the Canucks out of the market, given that the Canucks are probably looking at signing Jacob Markstrom as a priority, and then Tyler Toffoli, my guess, is a second priority. So there's simply not going to be enough money to sign Chris Tanev. That's my gut feeling. So I think we should prepare for life without Chris Tanev. He's going to want to hit one more big contract before his career ends. So then if Chris Tanev leaves, which is my prediction, and I've always said this, then Troy Stecher, they should make signing Stecher maybe the third priority, because you have a big hole, obviously, if Tanev leaves, and Stecher is still cheaper because he's only coming off not his ELC, but a smaller deal, right? Less money, less term, and he's still a restricted free agent as opposed to a UFA because he hasn't accumulated his 7 seasons in the league yet. So it's a very similar situation to Ben Hutton last year, where Ben Hutton, remember, after his ELC, he signed a big 2-year contract, $2.7 million, so basically 5.5 over 2 years. And then he was looking on a raise on that, for a raise on that, and the Canucks simply couldn't afford that. Now, Stecher is in a similar situation where the Canucks have to qualify him in order to re-sign him. But I think the odds of that happening go up, especially if Chris Tanev leaves, because you can't have Tyler Myers stay as your first pairing D-man and then a big drop to Rafferty Trampkin, who I'll get to in a second. So I think if Tanev goes, Troy Stecher stays, and the Canucks will probably work out another short-term deal with him, either 1 or 2 years. And then it gets even further muddled because you have thoughts of Brogan Rafferty coming up, but from all accounts, he played very well in Utica and looks like he's ready to make the team next season. And Rafferty, though, you could argue if he tops out as a third pairing D-man, so there's your third pairing right guy. So you could go into next season with Myers, Stecher, and Rafferty. There's also Nikita Trampkin, who played on the right side. He oftentimes played with Lucas Pisa or Ben Hutton when he was here with the Vancouver Canucks. There's talks that Trampkin may come back. You guys know my feelings on him. I don't think he's any better than a third pairing D-man at that. I'm sure his size is alluring. It's tantalizing, if you want to use that word. But I have a few questions about his attitude. So it'll be tough to say right now whether or not Trampkin's a lock for sure. But he would only be battling for that third pairing spot. You can also move Jordy Ben over from the left to the right, especially if you're going to re-sign Oscar Fantenberg or anyone as a third pairing left D-man, right? You have Hughes and Edler, of course, on the left side, and there was Fantenberg and Ben that were splitting that third spot on the left side. But Jordy Ben played 1 or 2 games on the right, and he actually played better, even though it's his off wing, but he's played on the right side before. So you could slot Jordy Ben in as a third pairing right side D-man. And then that's not even including, any other free agents that we may sign There's a few guys that play on the right side, but they're going to be expensive. TJ Brody, no, it's not TJ Brody, Tyson Barrie, I should say. Although Brody is, I didn't look up if Brody's a right or left hand, right or left shot guy, but I know he's a UFA as well. But you have guys like Tyson Barrie, Sami Vatanen is also a right side guy. So there's options in the free agent market, but those guys are going to cost just as much as Chris Tanev. So if the Canucks aren't looking to spend, and if they aren't looking to upgrade on the outside, then I could see them going with Tyler Myers, Troy Stecher, and then either Rafferty, likely, and then maybe Ben and Trampkin. So you have 5 guys that could play on the right side. You can flip Ben back to the left and go 4-4 if you end up going with Hughes and Edler and Vandenberg and Ben on the left, and then Myers, Stecher, Rafferty, and Trampkin on the right, for instance. And then, and that's not to talk about any of our other young defensemen that are still fighting for time in Utica. So that's what I see. If I had to force a prediction right now, I would say you have Tyler Myers, you have Troy Stecher, and you have Brogan Rafferty, and those are your top 3. Then you have Jordy Ben as a 6-7 guy, can go left or right side. And that's not even including Nikita Trampkin, and that's not even including any upgrades that the Canucks may explore in free agency. Because I did talk in my live stream last night how I think that's the one weakness of the Canucks is they're set up front, or at least they have a lot of pieces up front, especially Hoglander and Podkolzin coming in goal, whether it's Markstrom and or Demko, or I should say Demko and or Markstrom, you're solid in goal. So I think the Canucks should spend some time upgrading their D and spend some money. So maybe they are looking at bringing in a big free agent piece, but then obviously affects the money that you can give Markstrom and Toffoli. So a lot of questions. So my question of the day for you is simply this: who do you see as our top 3 right side D-men next year? I'm saying with no free agent signings, I'm going with Myers, Stecher, Rafferty. But my question to you for today is, what do you see as our right side for next season? Leave a comment below. I would love to read, react, and reply. As always, subscribe if you like to, like this video if you like to. Getting ready for 2 big Zoom interviews later this week. TSN's James Duthie in midweek, and then at the end of the week, the Athletics Thomas Drance. So I'm looking forward to those 2. Thanks for all the feedback on those. But for today, let's talk about this right side of the Canucks D for next season. Leave a comment below. Have a great day. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. Stay safe and stay healthy. God bless, and go Canucks go.